What is good? What is good? 2024 draft is in the rearview mirror. It is time for Mocking with the Stars. Oh, hail to the Yizad. Let's go, baby. Chris Battistyle, he's taking care of some kids right now. He's going to jump in here shortly, but we have a star of stars. One of my original co-hosts back when I started playing this game. Shane is the worst. How are you tonight, sir?
What's good? Everything's awesome. We've joked about it. A little past my bedtime. Usually crawling into bed right about now. Not to fall asleep, but to ease myself to falling asleep. That's how you know you're old, when you got to ease yourself into falling asleep.
So we're going to do a mock draft, but let's talk about how you ease yourself to fall asleep.
You read. You just read. You read for like an hour, and then you play on your phone.
Yeah.
Right. There's certain things that make me sleepy, like going on dating sites and doing the what do you call that? Swiping. That makes me sleepy. I make playlists. I have about 4,000 different playlists because I just keep making them and falling asleep like halfway through.
I was gonna say, how many have you listened all the way through?
Listened?
Yes.
No, because they're all in the hundreds. Like, I'm one of those guys. Like, I love songs so much that like I gotta keep putting it on playlists. Like, whatever.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Well, hopefully we'll get this mock draft up right here and we will get started. And as we get started, I want to talk about a little bit different tonight than we have in the past when we've done these mocks, and we kind of just don't really talk about the players and their landing spots as much. But I want to talk more about some of these landing spots as these players are taken tonight. So I'm going to get this draft started. Chris is in the draft room, so he is going to be drafting while he's taking his kid down, or putting his kid down, rather. And
taking his kid down. I've had enough of you. I've had enough of you. He's just going to take him out. That's messed up.
I asked this question last week, Shane. When you're looking at these rookies, which rookie took the biggest hit because of their landing spot when it comes to fantasy football?
Jeez, I feel like the draft was so long ago. What was it, like 3 weeks, 2 weeks now?
A week and a half.
Half.
Yeah, it ended Saturday a week ago.
I'd say Rome's fallen a little bit. Brock Bowers. I was in a draft, and I won't speak to the people that were in it, but I was just in a draft where Rome and Dunze went at 111. And what's really annoying about that is I wasn't even paying attention to the draft at that point. So I had no way of knowing that Roman Dunze was falling that far, because I would have traded in or at least attempted to, and I didn't even do it. Like, how bad is that? Bad feeling like you're looking at your email alerts and it goes, Roman Dunze has gone off the board at 111 and you're on the clock. I'm like, son of a bitch. I really, really would have liked Roman Dunze, but he's one of them.
Why do you think that is, though? I mean, I think is it because of DJ Moore and Keenan Allen?
I think, yeah, which is, I don't want to say it's funny, but we kind of had an inkling, predilection. That's not a word. I think is predilection a word? I think predilection is a word. I'm going to say it's a word.
You evidently read falling asleep, so I'm going to say it's a word because you said it. And if it's not, it's just a Shaneism.
Right. Well, we had an idea. Yeah. We had an idea that he might end up in Chicago, but when it happened, people were absolutely befuddled and bewildered. And Brock Bowers has fallen a little bit, not a lot. I mean, I only look at generally guys at that level, because do I care if a guy fell from the second to the third round, really? Because as fun as it is, and people tell you how deep this class is, the chances of a second round player being useful to you is not great. Hey, Jamie, what's up, bro? It's been a long time.
Yes. I think Jamie is probably one of the happiest men in the world right now, seeing the both of us on the same screen.
It's been a long time.
Misses those days. Yeah, I agree with you, though. I think that's the funniest thing is, going into the draft, the week prior to the draft, and we're doing all these mocks, and Odunze was wide receiver 2 or 3, depending, just like, Harrison was first off the board or second off the board, depending on what the feeling was on Caleb Williams. But Odunze was still wide receiver 2 or 3. And that now it's like, I don't even, and we knew he was going to go or we, like you said, we had a really good feeling that he was going to Chicago. And now it's like, I just hate the landing spot. I don't understand why they changed.
Real quick, is there a tight end premium in this league?
Yes.
That we're drafting for 1.75?
1.75, call it.
Okay.
And that's another guy that we are seeing fall because of landing spot, and that's Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I don't understand it. In this format, like just 107, getting Brock Bowers, 108, you get Rome Odunze. Didn't see that coming before the season, or excuse me, before the draft. JJ McCarthy, I guess, is the one that jumped up and kind of knocked them down because it's not really anyone else. So I guess it's not a huge fall, but at some point, not at some point, but leading up to the draft, you could talk yourself into taking Brock Bowers as early as 4 in a tight end premium, 1.75, 2.0 definitely, but thinking about it in 1.75 now, it seems like that's completely off the board. No one would do that.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up JJ McCarthy there, but Drake May's also slid in front of him as well because Drake May was still, that he was the QB3, but he was still questionable after Bowers,
right?
So they were mixed in the mix there, but now it's pretty much any mock or any mock or any rookie draft you look at. That's pretty much the order. It's JJ Drake or Drake JJ, and then Bowers, and then Rome.
Correct.
I mean, I've learned what this correct word means, and it makes so much more sense now because. Back in the day, you used to say that, and I was like, okay, so he did hear what I said. No, he just heard me stop talking.
no, I heard you. JJ McCarthy has definitely jumped up above people. Like he was the guy that we were looking at. Like, all right, maybe we'll take him 107, 108, and now all of a sudden that's like, well, maybe Michael Penix can go at 108, maybe Bo Nix can go at 110, or vice versa. So yeah, JJ, obviously his landing spot is beautiful. For a while there, we thought it was going to be Drake May's landing spot. We thought Minnesota, it felt right? Is it? I'm trying to remember where his high school quarterback. What was the?
Wasn't it his? Wasn't it? Well, maybe it was Caleb Williams' quarterback coach.
No, it was. So I gotta look it up. I didn't know we were going to be talking about the rookies. Clearly, quarterback coach. It was an ex-NFL player, Josh McCown. That's who it was. Josh McCown.
Yes.
And I believe Josh McCown is now coaching with, I want to say, the Vikings. I could be wrong. I could be making that up completely, but I believe that's correct. So a lot of people were putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5 and seeing Drake May and yep. 100%. He's the quarterback coach in Minnesota. So he was Drake May's quarterback coach in high school because I don't know why he was. He just was because he was coaching high school.
If I'm not mistaken, it's right after he got done in Carolina.
While he was still playing football, he was coaching high school. When he was a backup to the Eagles, he was a high school football coach.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's when he coached Drake May. I'm not sure about the math. But yeah, so a lot of people were putting that together because like, oh, wouldn't that be perfect? He knows the kid. He's known the kid literally since he was a child.
Right.
It would make sense if he ended up in Minnesota. So I think a lot of us just had it built. That's where he was going. But that's not where he ended up. And New England's weapons are a little less good than Minnesota's, I would say.
Well, let's talk about this first round real quick. We had Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, JJ McCarthy, Drake May, Brock Bowers, Rome Odunze, Xavier Worthy, Brian Thomas Jr., Bo Nix, and then Jonathan Brooks sneaking into the 112 there. Obviously becoming, or at least the NFL has told us that he is RB1 of this class. Only running back to go in the second round of the NFL draft. Clearly your RB1 too, or...
Oh, son of a bitch. We had a timeout. Yeah. I don't even think it's particularly close. I like Blake Corum. I like Trey Benson, but I'm not sure how you could put either of those guys in front of him, right? I know that it's probably arbitrary, but he's the earliest one, right? First pick in the third round, I believe. He's definitely the earliest one that went off the board.
I think he was late second round, if I'm not mistaken, for
Maybe.
Jonathan Brooks.
Maybe. I don't know. It's been, like I said, the
Yeah,
draft's
it's been
how
so
long?
long ago. Been a week.
It's been months. Yeah, has it literally just been a week?
It's only been a week.
Jesus Christ. I sorry about excuse my French, but it feels like it was forever ago at this point. I've had 4,000 rookie drafts. They took him at number 46 overall. Yeah, that would be the second round, wasn't it?
Yeah, but his landing spot was probably the I guess the sneaky one, but it was sneaky good.
Yeah. So he was a second round pick. I don't even think it was a sneaky spot. I think it's a very good spot. I mean, they had Miles Sanders there, who was terrible, who they gave a bunch of money to, and they still didn't care. They were like, you know what? Hubbard's going to take his job. That's it. Hubbard can have his job. Just go away, Miles Sanders. And they immediately looked to replace both of them.
And then they turn right around and sign Rashad Penny, the stealer of all running back opportunities and attempts.
He didn't get many touches last year for the Eagles. I'll say that. We kept waiting for him, kept waiting for it to happen, and it just never did. I would not be worried about Rashad Penny stealing touches from Jonathan Brooks, but it's a nice little backup, a little ancillary. Nope, that's not the word I'm looking for. It's a nice backup plan to have in case Brooks isn't ready to carry a full load when the season begins, since, he's recovering from I believe it was an ACL. Yeah, and I can't believe I didn't remember he was drafted in the second round. Jesus Christ, Shane. Yeah. Only running back drafted in the second round this year.
Well, it's like you said, it was long ago. So it was long ago. Every time I try to tiptoe out of here, he set off an alarm. That's the co-host right there, Chris Battistell, jumping in. He's still trying to get away from the kids, I guess.
Never get away from him. Never.
Keon Coleman, the Bills backing up, twice, I think it was, out of the first round, and then turning around day 2, picking Keon Coleman. I've been on record many times. I don't like the kid. I think there's a lot of red flags with him, but the Bills like him. Great landing spot for him. Seems like a very good, personable dude. I just don't like his play style. But he goes to the Bills early second round. Great landing spot. He seems to have moved up quite a bit into the first half of the second round, like he did here, going at 2-1 and sliding into the back half of the first round in a lot of drafts as well. What's your take on Keon Coleman out of Florida State going to the Bills?
So I'm just as guilty as this as everyone else, right? Like the kid is hilarious, and I don't even know if he is attempting to be. You know what I mean? He's just absolutely funny as hell. So you like him. You just like him. You want him to do well. And you think about players that we've liked in the past and have had a little bit of talent to go with it. Generally, we're going to wind up overvaluing them in the dynasty market. We just are. We're human, as much as, and I'm process over players guy all day, but still, I want him to do well. I think the problem is that they're going to need him to be an outside receiver, right? And that's not probably where he's best suited for. All that said, I'm fine taking them where you're getting them, because you're getting them at 201, 202, 203, where there's a bunch of wide receivers with flawed prospects. Jesus Christmas. This is what happens when you have me on at 10 o'clock at night. There are a lot of flawed receivers with flawed profiles for different reasons. Guys that weren't early declares, played 5 years. Guys that didn't break out until their 5th year or 4th year, guys with bad landing spots, etc. So there's a lot of wide receivers where there's not a lot of differential that way. Once you get to that point, once you get past the Xavier Worthies and stuff, who had a really nice profile, after you get past Brian Thomas, who good college production, good, not great, and a really good landing spot.
Yeah, 1 year of good college production, but
right.
That is what it is. So
still young, right?
Yeah, that I can give him. He's still young. So second round goes Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey.
Nope, he's 21. He's not even young. Never mind.
Yeah, if he can drink, you're not young anymore. Trey Benson, Michael Penix. It's crazy all around with him going as early as he did.
Can we stop this right here? So, never mind. It's not who I thought it was. Okay.
Oh, did you think Ladd McConkey and Luke McCaffrey?
I got them mixed up.
Yeah,
definitely saw.
But the same team took them. So
I thought Ladd McConkey fell to the third round. That's going to make look. I don't like Ladd McConkey particularly, but that would be insanity if he fell that far. But this guy's got a type. FF Chris, your co-host, right? He's got
That's
a type.
the co-host. Yep, he's got a type.
Got a type.
He's got a type. We know what it is. Ricky Pearsall, our Florida going to San Francisco, goes at the 2-5. Blake Corum. And then you take Xavier Legette, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about because that's, again, that older receiver, took 5 years to break out in college. Good thing that Carolina got the 5th-year option on him because if it takes 5 years, at least they don't have to pay him as much. Jalen Polk goes at the 2-6 or 2-8 rather. Adonai Mitchell, Ben Sinnott, which is my co-host, tight end, I believe 2 for him as well. Troy Franklin getting paired up with his and doing it right here. Brokow doing it again. Bo Nix, Troy Franklin going from Oregon, paired up down there in Denver. And then Roman Wilson at the 2-12, which I think he's starting to creep up a little bit. And even Jamie asked the question, what's your thoughts on Roman Wilson this late stepping into the Deontay Johnson role? Getting 6, 7 targets a game, maybe? Is that a possibility?
Look, we tell ourselves a story about all these second-round wide receivers, second-round NFL draft, Tinder dates. Guys, I'm old. I don't go on Tinder. I go on Bumble or I go on single parents dating sites. I got to find a dating site where people understand that you got kids and you're not going to be able to just wander the hell out whenever and party. Also, that don't want to party because they're 40 years old like me, 45. Anyway, I mean, we can tell ourselves a lot of stories about a lot of wide receivers that go in the second round, right? But they're all flawed. I like Roman Wilson. Could he be Deontay Johnson? I think we're underselling what Deontay Johnson was when we say things like that. Like, oh, you just plug him into that role and he's going to get 140 targets. Like, it's not just a given. Now, that said, I do like Roman Wilson. I just don't think that he could ever be anything more than a wide receiver 3, back end wide receiver 3, which, sure, that has utility in some formats. If it's start 11, start 12, cool. I just don't think he'll ever be a guy that's a needle mover. Excuse me.
He'd fit in the best ball format as well. Then getting those spike weeks.
If you think he's going to have those spike weeks, yes. I don't know if that's really the type of player he is. He feels like he could be Deontay Johnson light, which is that really that useful in fantasy? I don't think so. Oh, I'm on the clock again.
That's fine. While you're picking there, Jamie says the same team, McCaffrey, do football team, and McConkey went to the Chargers. Good Lord, Jamie. Roman Wilson, wide receiver 3, is his prediction. But this late, it's a smash for him, he says.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You're getting him at 212, and look at the options available to you at 212. Jalen Wright, okay, Luke McCaffrey, Kamani Vidal, Gore Vidal's son. Jermaine Burton is who I actually like. I would have taken him over Rome Wilson. And he's probably a guy that should go in the second round of most rookie drafts just based on talent and what could be if T. Higgins were to move on. Here it's third round. I'm just get your guy. Yep, Will Shipley. Sure.
Interesting. It might be the first time I've seen him go in the third round there.
Yeah, I mean, usually I've seen him in the back of the third, fourth round. At this point, Kamani Vidal's gone off the board. So I take that as a sign that people are going to load up on running backs here because they're apparently just loading up on running backs that they like. And as I say that, 2 wide receivers go off the board immediately after. One
of which I really like. And situation down in Tampa with Jalen McMillan. They came out today and said that Chris Godwin is going to be more or less the slot. It is also his final year of his contract year. So Jalen McMillan, maybe not this year, but next year. And in my personal opinion, is I like Jalen McMillan more than I like Polk out of Washington. And I think if it wasn't for McMillan's injury, we wouldn't have the high expectations or the high thoughts that we do for Polk. But that's just my opinion. All right, so we got Jalen Wright coming off at the 3-1 there, going to Miami. In a backfield that's got like 74 players and back there.
They have a type. Super fast. Just that whole, I love that offense. It's like, are you fast? Okay. Do you play a position? Because we're going to try to get you in one if you are fast.
Doesn't this feel like the old way the Raiders used to draft?
except that they're drafting players that are good at football.
Okay,
that part, yeah. But I mean, honestly, I know the Raiders, like we're old. They got a lot of shit for like Darius Hayward-Bay and stuff like that. But I don't remember a lot of picks that were like that. Like they missed on a lot of picks, but not just because they were
Russell.
that was just a bad. But that was just a bad pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're taking players like we look at it now and say these players like a Ricky Pearsall. Okay, maybe he went in the first round, but it was late first round. Adonai Mitchell going in the second round. These guys all have flaws. You could see the flaws of a Darius Hayward-Bay. You could see the flaws of a Jamarcus Russell, and they're taking these guys not just in the first round. They're taking them in a top 10. Oh, hi, Michael Penix. How you doing? Atlanta's doing that now.
Yeah.
What do you think about these tight ends? What are we doing with tight ends this year? Is it Brock Bowers and that's it?
It's Brock Bowers, and then Ben Sinnott's got second round capital. Ben Sinnott. Sorry.
Yeah, but he's more, and I get the whole thought process and philosophy of on the field opportunity. Coming out of Kansas State, he just seems like more of a blocking back or a blocking tight end. And I've said that with Chris Patterson. And Chris Patterson has dug into his tape a lot more than I have. To me, it seems like he is more of he's on the field because he can block better than any other tight end that most teams have.
So that's the thing, right? There's been second round and third round tight ends in the past where we've gone, dude, he's fairly athletic and he's got good draft capital. Like this should turn out well, and it never does. It hardly ever does, because the NFL does look at that tight end position differently than us. We go, oh, they drafted him in the second round. They must want to throw the ball to him 140 times a year. Or let's be realistic. They must want to throw the ball to him 120 times a year. And the NFL team's thinking, no, it'd be awesome if we could get this guy about 60 targets, and he could be on the field all the time for run blocking or pass protection. Like that's what the NFL's thinking. And to them, that's worth paying a second round pick for. Whereas obviously we would think that's a terrible use of a second round pick if we were drafting NFL teams. So if we were drafting NFL teams, our quarterbacks would probably get murdered all the time, because we would never, ever draft. Like we would draft linemen, but it'd be like all from the 6th and 7th round.
Yes. Well, okay, going with what you're saying there, do we need to start looking at the teams that are drafting him? For instance, Washington drafting Sinnott, and they're putting him in front of their new franchise quarterback. And it's there to protect him, not to be an outlet for him.
Right.
So I'm not saying he's a bad player by no means. I just want to caution people on saying that, yes, he's second round draft capital, so we got to go get him. Because I actually like Jalen Sanders better as a receiver, as a receiving tight end than Sinnott. And better landing spot there in Carolina.
I mean, so I did a one-man mock draft tonight, one QB by myself. Obviously, that's why it's a one-man. Recorded it for the next Shane Says.
I don't like listening to you talk about what you do like that.
So make sure you check out the next Shane Says episode and on the Destination Devy. And I actually I drafted him in the second round. I think it was 212 where I took him. And yeah, he does.
Sanders?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because Tommy Tremble is your biggest impediment to work. And it's a team that they need pass catchers. Now, obviously, they drafted Leggett and they have Deontay Johnson now, but they have room in that offense for a third piece, a third target, and that could be Jatavian Sanders. It was a little sad to see him drop, because at one point he was being talked about like as a second round tight end. And at that point, he was pretty easily the tight end 2 of the class. But even still now, at worst, what is he? Tight end 3?
Oh, yeah, on here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just worry about the expectation of having that second round tight end.
What I've noticed is, it's like the George Kittle effect, right? George Kittle did not have a lot of receiving work in college. And it might be because I think when he was at Iowa, they ran the ball 470 times a game or something like that, but he just didn't have a lot of receiving work. So now whenever a tight end's drafted that didn't have monster numbers, people kind of look and go, well, he could be the next George Kittle. When George Kittle is kind of I would say a unicorn. Obviously, I mean, that what he's done should not be something that you expect going forward, especially since he was drafted in the 5th round. Like the 49ers did not know what they had. No one knew that this was in him. If they did, there's no way that the dude falls to the 5th round.
No, I completely agree. And if they did, he wouldn't have been a 49er either. Welcome to the party there, Chris. How we doing, sir?
We made it, man.
Finally got the kiddos to bed.
It's that the youngest one recently just been trouble. Absolute
Tiptoed
trouble.
out, didn't set off any alarms. We're good to go.
No, this time I was just Pink Panther out of the room.
Well, we were just talking about the tight ends there with your guy Senate going in the 2nd round there.
Yep.
Don't know if you got anything you want to add to if you heard what we were saying or whatnot.
I missed the last part, just getting everything set up and getting into the room. I heard you talking about Jatavion Sanders. Was that right?
Yeah, Jatavion Sanders was the tight end 3 coming off this board at 311. Senate went off at 210. Bowers, of course, at the 17.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Apparently, Spencer Rattler was drafted by someone.
Yep. Spencer Rattler went about 3 picks ago. So let me run through this 3rd round. I believe it's Jalen Wright, Luke McCaffrey, Vidal, Jermaine Burton, Marshawn Lloyd, Baker, Will Shipley, Macau Corley, McMillan, Bucky Irvin. Still a weird pick for me going to Tampa, but Jatavion Sanders and then Lob going out there to Vegas. Interesting. Is there anything to be had with Lob in the late 3rd, early 4th? I guess that's where you want to go grab him, right? Throw your dart throws at the running back spot.
Yeah, so he's not in what we call that, a crowded backfield, right? I honestly, with all these running backs in the 4th round, 3rd round on, it's literally, can I tell myself a story? And if I can tell myself that story, is it a story that other people will be telling themselves, right? Which is more important than can I tell myself a story? Is it believable to other people? So let's say Dylan Lobb, let's just say Zamir White, I should say, isn't ready for prime time. We don't know. I mean, we saw him a little bit in it last year in that role, and he looked good, but perhaps he's not that guy. So what you tell yourself is there you go. Lobb has 0 competition as the pass catching running back. Alexander Patterson. Anyhow, right there, Jamie's showing you right there. He's no competition as the receiving back. So all he needs to do, if he gets out there and on the field and he's getting 5 targets a game for a couple weeks, all of a sudden people tell themselves a story how he's the next Austin Eckler. He's Jaylen Warren. And could he turn into Jaylen Warren? Sure. You know what I mean? I wouldn't bet on it. And I would bet as soon as I can make a profit on him, I'm out. But that's the important thing is people can believe it. And people talk themselves into running backs all the time in these rounds. Instead of looking at them, I think, in a realistic manner and going, hey, these are guys that I could probably get spot starts out of. These are guys that I could throw into like a 2nd or 3rd flex spot during a tough week and be okay with that. People convince themselves, well, this guy could someday be take over that backfield. And then they don't have the discipline to move them when they do pop a little bit and their value increases. So that's what I think about Dylan Lobb, but he's really just a proxy for any other running back in this range, except for Will Shipley. He's different.
Chris, we quickly figured out just in your first 3 rounds going in Marvin Harrison, Ladd McConkey, and then Luke McCaffrey that you absolutely have a profile. You have a preferred style of player. Talk about your draft right there.
Yeah, I mean, Marvin Harrison 1-2. I could have went Jaden Daniels there and attacked the quarterback position, especially one that uses his feet to accumulate a lot of his fantasy points. But I wanted to go with the wide receiver 1, Marvin Harrison Jr. 2nd round, Ladd McConkey, guy who's walking into a role, as we all know, on Los Angeles to potentially be the target hog for that team. 3rd round, Luke McCaffrey. I think a little bit of disrespect for Luke McCaffrey right now with some of the players going ahead of him and what he was able to do at Rice. If you look at some of his efficiency metrics, it looks good when you're looking at the first down per route run and yards per route run compared to some of the guys that are being picked ahead of him. Donnie Mitchell, Brian Thomas Jr., Keon Coleman, Xavier Legette, Ricky Pearsall, Jalen Polk.
Whoa.
In those categories, Luke McCaffrey is just dominating those guys. So
Luke and
I'm not afraid to take Luke. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and he's only been playing the position for a couple of years, right?
Exactly.
So there's the whole, hey, he could learn how to be better than this. And there's also, look, we like to tell ourselves stories. What's his last name? I mean, that's fantasy football royalty. So if this kid pops off 1 week, all of a sudden people are going to have in their head like, why can't he be Christian? And you're like, well, because Christian's an absolute fucking freak of nature. He's built different and he's way faster and just better, more athletic, and everything about him is completely different except for his last name. But it doesn't matter because people tell themselves this stuff. So it's like, all right, how can I flip? Well, who can I get in the third, fourth rounds? Who can I get that I can turn into a profit as long as I had the discipline to do it?
Yeah, that's what it is. And then finishing it up with Walker, field stretcher for the Baltimore Ravens. A guy, like Shane says, can increase his value as the season goes. And when he does, I'll just look to ship him out for either future capital or another piece that I need to fill up my team. But yeah, I think where I was and with the guys that fell to me, I had no problem taking wide receivers with every pick.
Yeah, Des Walker is one that I've probably been out on the longest, and I probably will end up with very little shares of him. And I'm going to be okay to be wrong on him.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just wasn't overly impressed with him, and you know, he had basically a wide receiver room to himself. You know, so it was just kind of a feeling that I got from him. But I'll be fine to be wrong with him. But I think you're absolutely correct. On a player like him, you're just looking for that 1, maybe 2 week stretch that you can just get rid of him and absolutely, if you can go get a third and a second or 2/3 for him, getting him in the 4th round, go ahead and move away from it, right?
Yeah, we seen Josh Dobbs go for 2nd round picks last year when people were dying for a quarterback. So they will spend what they need to spend in order to acquire a player like Des Walker, who, if he goes off for 2-3 weeks, you're shipping off. So yeah, man, I have no problem at all.
Shane, who in the 3rd round here has surprised you that they were still there? Is there anybody that's surprising that's still there outside of Will Shipley?
I just got to make my screen bigger.
So sleepy eyes.
I mean, nah, not really any of them. All these are dudes that like belong exactly where they are. Wait, Jermaine Burton.
Okay, I was going to ask you. You brought up Jermaine Burton going over Roman Wilson earlier, so I was just going to remind you of that. But
yeah, quite frankly, I would take Jermaine Burton over Sanat. And probably Rome Wilson. So I would sneak him in the back of the second. Just the talent is so good. And he actually produced when he was on the field. It's just he had some issues off the field, which it's funny because I keep hearing that. And I was just searching for all his off-field issues. And apparently he like mean mugged some girl, right? Is that what happened? And like that ran onto the field. That's the only thing I could find. Not that that's great, but I was wondering if there was like other incidents that I wasn't aware of. But anyway, the dude's talent and potential situation, that dude could be a monster. He absolutely could be. Now, will he? I mean, I'd say the hit rate on troubled wide receivers drafted in the later parts of the draft is not great. I can't even remember the last one. All I remember is the dude that was drafted to Cleveland, and we were all like, oh, this is going to be great. And he sucked. And he was the same type of dude, like he physically, but there's been a bunch of guys like that. Because generally if you have off-field issues, legitimate ones, not like made up ones like Caleb Williams, you know what I mean? But if you have like legitimate ones, it speaks to your level of maturity. And I know these guys are kids, but this is also a business. Mm-hmm. Like they need to step in day one. Like this is how you earn your living. And some people just don't have that mentality to them. Not to knock him, because I know I didn't at 21. I was on some other stuff 22. So I'm sure I would have flamed out of the NFL very quickly after I got my first paycheck, because I'd be like, oh, how big of a bag of cocaine can I buy with this? But it's just, like, you got to be different. Like, you can't be that dude. So for all that to say, Jermaine Burton, the one that I think could have went second.
That was a trip around the city of Philadelphia. We finally made it back to this. We made it all the way back. Bryn's got one for you. You taking Addison or Adonai Mitchell for Dynasty?
Wait, is it Jordan Addison?
I'm assuming Jordan Addison or Adonai Mitchell here.
That would be Jordan Addison by about 1 million Matt Moores. Like, that's not even the same conversation.
Matt Moore.
That is not. I would like a follow up to that if they would. Did they mean Jordan Addison, and did they mean Adonai Mitchell? Like, was there another wide receiver they meant to put there? And if not, why? And if not, why? That's all the follow ups I have. I would just like to know why.
How do you think Leggett can produce with his downfield skill set that doesn't mesh well with Bryce Young dumping passes off to Deontay Johnson from Jamie?
I mean, so yeah, Leggett's going to need to, what's the word I'm looking for? He's going to have to expand his skill set. That's probably true of most wide receivers when they enter the league, except for the truly elite ones. Right. Xavier Worthy's going to have to, he's going to have to work on his skill set too, right? Unless they
but he just has to work
like that.
He doesn't have to work on the downfield skill set.
No. Yeah, he's got that down pat. That absolutely has that down pat. I honestly, I don't know. I know that he's got a chance to be the number one wide receiver there, right? That's literally the what's the word I have? Justification for taking him at 206, 208. I can't see that. 207, wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
For a guy that has first round NFL draft capital. And I know people bring up, Terrence Marshall and Jonathan Mingo are also guys that were in Carolina with pretty good draft capital who ended up sucking. So there's absolutely no reason to think that he won't be that guy. I'm just willing to take a risk on him at 2.6. Again, maybe you take Jalen Polk over him, but Jalen Polk also has his own set of risks. Adonai Mitchell has his own set of risks. Like, everyone after him has their set of risks. And you're drafting guys here because you have to. You know what I mean? It's not like if I could, I'd much rather flip these picks to a 25 first, but no one's going to do that for a 2.207.
Right. So going back to Bryn's question, his friend thinks that Adonai Mitchell is going to be better than Jordan Addison. I would say send everything you can to go get Jordan Addison. Send him Adonai Mitchell and a second round pick. Go right ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, okay, what do I need to do to get Jordan Addison then? Because if you think Adonai Mitchell's better, then cool. And maybe he could be, but their value isn't equal, even remotely equal in fantasy. So they're not even in the same sentence.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Chris, anything to add about Mitchell?
No,
I
nailed it. I'm taking Jordan Addison all the time over AD Mitchell. 99% of the time, all the time.
Yeah, I think so as
Your
well.
friend is missing.
Your friend.
Get your guy. If he thinks AD Mitchell is that much better than Jordan Addison, maybe say he's got to add to Jordan Addison to get your AD Mitchell in that case.
No, man. Now we are definitely going crazy if we're doing that.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
Definitely losing our minds. But look, try it, right?
Yeah. Value is in the eye of the beholder at that point.
Yep.
Put his feet to the fire. And
fourth round ends up with Braylon Allen, Devaz. What is it? Is it Devontae? Is it Devontae Walker, Ray Davis, which I really like the size of him. I think that's going to be a big thing for Buffalo. Spencer Rattler, Rice, then Stover being the tight end 4, Audric Estime, Rasheen Ali, which I also another guy that I really like, and I think has I
thought about him. I thought about him in the 4th.
Look, they've got the king, but I mean, he's got a nice path next year. The next 2 years, I mean, he could be the guy. Tracy, another one in New York, another guy that's got a very nice path. Singletary's there, yes, fine. Still got a path to be fantasy productive in New York as the running back. Malik Washington, another speed guy going to Miami. As Shane likes to say, they have a tight period at the end. Isaiah Garindo, is that correct? Going to San Francisco?
Very fast.
Very fast.
Very bad at everything else, from what I understand, but really, really fast. I will say this, though. Drafting wide receivers in the 4th round of your rookie draft, it's almost like just burning the pick. Because what is Brendan Rice? Well, Brendan Rice is a good example because his last name's Rice. But let's just say Malik Washington. What is his path to either production or increasing in value? I just don't see one. Yeah. Whereas every running back you listed here, there's at least a path. Although Isaac Garindo's is very, very, very unlikely to see or harder to see. But for every other player in this round, at least running back wise, you can see a clear path, right? And that's the nature of the position, because one goes down, another, they might split the work at most between 2 people, as opposed to a wide receiver. There's 3 on the field. So even if 2 go down, one goes down, those targets are still going to be distributed to 2 other wide receivers likely. And there's also the fact that Malik, what's his name? Washington. Let's assume Tyreek Hill goes down. You think Malik Washington's running every snap that Tyreek Hill ran? It's unlikely. It's very unlikely. No. So to me, there's no reason to draft wide receivers in this round.
So I wanted to bring this last pick up. Theo Johnson, as Jamie points out, Mr. Irrelevant, the Canadian killer, Theo Johnson. Chris, you're the tight end guy. Theo Johnson landing in New York with the, behind Bellinger, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But also with Waller, with the questions of, is he going to retire? Is he worth throwing this dart in the 4th round, being that he's the 5th tight end coming off the board here?
Yeah, absolutely. He's worth the dart throw at the 412. And what did you say it was? 1.75 tight end premium?
Yes.
Take the guy that could have a good pathway to fantasy points there in New York. Bellinger's not the greatest tight end in the world. So if that's the only guy he's going up against, now Theo Johnson's not the greatest blocking tight end, so that might limit his potential there for on-field snaps. But he will have an opportunity only because it's Malik Neighbors and nobody else. So if someone can step up and be a safe target or a decent receiving option for Daniel Jones or Drew Lock or whoever's throwing the ball for the Giants this season, he's absolutely worth the dart throw.
Yeah, I got to say this. I don't know that you can joke about tight ends being killers after Aaron Hernandez. You can never joke about that.
Fair enough. I mean, we did hear a lot of Aaron Hernandez killer jokes last night.
I was hoping that wasn't.
Nikki Glazer. Oh,
that was terrific stuff.
Randy Moss has no rings. Aaron Hernandez, never mind. That was just terrible. Just awful people.
Scamper's got a question here. 104 Addison, Marvin Mims, and the 305, or Amon-Ra St. Brown and the 111. Shane, hang on one second. I want to send it to Chris first because I know you have an opinion on this, and yours is going to probably be the answer that we all want to hear anyway.
Ooh, I'm probably going to lean ARSB in the 111. The 305 and Marvin Mims right now are kind of just juice to add to the trade. A little bit of that's what you put in the trade calculator to kind of even it out. And then you got Addison equal to the 111, and then ARSB equal to the 104 is a smash. So ARSB in the 111 for me.
So how many starters?
Yes, I knew this was coming.
Yeah, there's tons.
Is it full PPR? Is it half PPR? I mean, these things matter.
Is it a 12 team, 14?
Right. Is it 10 team?
Sure.
Because quarterbacks don't matter as much, right? Especially the quarterback that I'm going to get one at 104 in a 10 team. I don't particularly, not that I don't care, but I'm less apt to go, let me get Drake May or JJ McCarthy here as opposed to Jaden Daniels. I'm not going to answer. I refuse to answer your question.
Half point, 12 team.
All right. How many starters? So close, Mr. Scampers. So close.
And Jamie, of course, loves the Aaron Hernandez joke. So yeah,
they are humorous. It's been plenty of time, right? Enough time has passed. You can make Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, although his ex-girlfriend, I guess,
not happy.
Not happy.
Well,
Not happy.
In fairness to her,
Justified.
he is the father of her children. And she was his fiance. So that's, I could see her being a little sensitive to the matter. All right, so Mr. Scampers, let's just assume it's 12 team start 10, right? We're gonna say it's a 12 team start 10. I'm not being a dick. These things matter. So what was the question originally? It was Addison
104, Addison, Marvin Mims in the 305, or Amon-Ra in the 111.
So I'll look at it just from two ways, right? If I'm in a rebuild, this is a decent package for oh wait, and the 111. Oh my goodness, I didn't even see that. Yeah, this is ARSB in the 111. That 104 could be Malik Neighbors, but it's not likely.
Yeah. I mean, the 104 was Malik here, but this is a full.
It could be Malik Neighbors there, which Malik Neighbors and Jordan Addison for ARSB. If your roster is bereft of talent, I would say is a fair enough deal, because not that I don't care about the 111, but it's late enough that it's not going to be a decision maker. I could go either way, but I'll just nut up and I will go with ARSB, the guy that's been a top 5 wide receiver in the league for multiple years, or at least last year.
Yes, got to listen to Trades and 5 and understand why roster size matters between both Scott and Shane. They make it very clear on why roster size matters and what is truly important in each roster. Guys, 45 minutes in, we've gone through basically everything in the draft here. Real quick, I just want you guys to look at this draft board. We've talked about who shouldn't be, or who should be. The only guy that we get to come up with is Burton, that should be up in that second round. Maybe Roman Wilson, Ben Sinnott, maybe in the third round. Is there anybody that stands out to you that shouldn't be in the first 2 rounds, or that didn't get drafted, that is immediate, go out and get him off the waiver wire?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I pretty much go ape shit as soon as my rookie drafts are over. Like, absolutely grabbing anyone with any running back that wasn't drafted. Like, who's like Blake Watson? That's one guy. Usually you don't see Rasheen Ali drafted, to be honest with you. So that's usually a guy you can get off the waivers. Like, unless you're
in a draft with me.
There you go. But I've gotten him on like 3 or 4 different waivers. I guess Frank Gore Jr. is another guy that could have been drafted, or at least be worth a wire ad. Jace McClellan. And Dylan Lobb's another one that was drafted, even though I got to say, this is a sharp group of drafters. As much as I was bitching about the wide receivers being taken, there's several guys here like Rasheen Ali, Tracy, and Lobb that usually you can get at least 1, if not 2 of those dudes off the waiver wire. So I'd actually say this room did a really good job with that. Now, who doesn't belong in the second round? I'm sorry.
Outside of the one we've already pointed out, Roman Wilson.
Honestly, you can make an argument for any of these guys being in the second round. None of them are egregious, right? Like, the only one that I think that I would have moved up is Jermaine Burton, and maybe I would have moved Ben Sinnott to the 3rd. Senate. I keep saying his name incorrectly, but that's about it. It's nothing egregious here.
Yeah, Cody Schrader, an automatic ad for you.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yes.
Chris, any of these players that are automatic waiver ads for you that we didn't talk about already, or?
No, I think Shane hit on a couple of the good ones. Cody Schrader's a great one, landing in San Francisco there behind Christian McCaffrey. He does have Isaac Uriendo there as well. But what he was able to do in college was fantastic, especially his last season there. So him landing up there, another guy you're going to be able to grab off waivers. Maybe you're looking for a wide receiver. Jamari Thrash is a guy that I liked out of Louisville, landed up in Cleveland. It's a loaded room, but a guy that if you have a taxi, you can pick up, stash on your taxi. And for The second round, I'm probably going to go with Troy Franklin. Didn't get the draft capital we loved. He was an early fourth. It was like the second pick in the fourth round. So I'm not going to put too much stock into him being a day 3 draft pick. And I kind of like the situation there in Denver. But I would probably just put that tag on Troy Franklin. Ben Sinnott at 210 is a little rich. I got him at the 212, 3-1 range. So it's not that rich for him, and especially 1.75 tight end premium. But surprise pick is Vidal over Lloyd. Like, I don't know where you guys are at with Kamani Vidal, but what does he get? 6th-round draft capital going before a guy that was picked on day 2 into a situation that only really has A.J. Dillon in front of him to get a decent role there in Green Bay. So that'd probably be the only surprise pick that I got.
Yeah, I didn't even see the Marshawn Lloyd one. That would be one I would look at as well. Yeah, and I'd probably put him over. I mean, Jalen Wright, probably because of the Miami situation with having 65 running backs. So, Jamie brought this up a little bit ago, and I had it stored just because I wanted to ask the question about is it Ryan Flournoy? Flournoy, Cowboys,
like French Canadian name right there. I don't trust him.
Wide receiver for the Cowboys as a sleeper.
Yeah, that's two problems there. Being Canadian and French Canadian. Like, I don't even know. That's a terrible combination. That's what it sounds like. If I'm wrong, please let me know.
Jamie also made a trade the other day, Quentin Johnston and Dattavion Wicks for Roman Wilson. Thoughts on that?
Dattavion Wicks. God, that's why I try to sell Quentin Johnston. Yeah, I hate Quentin Johnston. So that's a great deal. I mean, lots of people like Wicks, man. You people hear people talk. They talk like Wicks is going to be the guy in Green Bay. And again, I don't know that he will be. But if he pops in week 1, he's a guy I could sell like that. And we've already talked about Roman Wilson. People really, really do like him.
Roman Wilson should be overall 16 to 18. Why do you think he should fall to the 3rd? 12, I think we've pretty much
16. Yeah, look, I don't have a particular problem with him. I'd probably move Ben Sinnott out. I just don't think he's going to be Deontay Johnson. But that's just me.
Yep.
I get it, Jamie. Do you think he's going to be? I think it's just it's a little premature to just say, well, we're going to put this guy into the Deontay Johnson role, and he's going to be Deontay Johnson. Like, Deontay Johnson wasn't really good.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I think he's gonna have the opportunity, but he's gonna have to prove it on the field. And we'll see if he can do that. Chris, anything else that you want to talk about? Any one of these players? I know you came in a little bit late and we hit on a bunch of them, but anything you want to add before we wrap it up tonight?
No, you guys nailed it. Seeing McCarthy go before Drake May, I think is something we're going to see more and more often as we head into June and July and August. But other than that, everything pretty like Shane said, sharp room, pretty chalk draft, and enjoy drafting with you guys.
One last quick question here. We had seven quarterbacks go off the board. Shane, is there any other quarterbacks that we need to be looking at? Is there something like a Jordan Travis that we're going to go and grab off the waiver wire right away because of the spot?
Yeah, because he's a quarterback. I mean, I keep taking him. I keep taking Michael Pratt. Who's in Green Bay? Is that Michael Pratt?
Yep.
Yeah, Michael Pratt's in Green Bay.
I can't take him twice then. But I mean, honestly, that's
you picking up Milton at all?
No.
Yeah, me either.
No, he's a weapon for Drake May, right?
He's
exactly. Future tight end 1 for New England.
All right, guys. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed to Club Fantasy, go ahead and make that happen tonight. We are on the way to 1,000. Shane's going to already subscribe, so that's good for us. Mm-hmm. Look, we got tomorrow night, we got Masterclass. That's me and Stacy doing the best ball. And tomorrow night, we're going to go from 8:30. We're going to move to 9 o'clock tomorrow because we're going to do an FFPC best ball. Wednesday morning, you will see Who's Your Caddy. That's the Go Off DFS. Wednesday night, no pun intended, the flagship show at 7. Market Lights Hot on Saturday at 11 a.m. Dynasty After Party at 11 a.m. on Sunday. And then we are right back here Monday night, 10 o'clock next week. Chris, we got Pat Fitzmaurice next week.
We
gotta.
Oh, I like Pat. I like Pat a lot. Yeah.
That means Shane's going to be coming out back too.
I might have to.
You're just going to
10
stay
o'clock
up
at night again.
Yep, going to stay up late. Now,
Yeah, no.
for
Pat's
Pat, we'll
old
probably
like
go.
me.
Yeah,
Pat's even older than me. How's he staying up that late? Oh well, he's so old. Like he just naps and wakes up at weird times. Like that.
I'm not telling you
type
said
of
that.
old.
Not telling you said that. I will not do it. Actually, I probably will. I probably will tell him.
It's fine. He won't remember like 10 minutes after that, so it won't matter.
Good Lord. Shane, tell the good people where they can find you and what you got going on.
You can find me at, where am I at? Destination Devy, Dynasty, Jesus Christ, Shane. Dynasty Trades in 5 every Tuesday night, 8:30 to 10 generally. Find me on the Destination Devy YouTube channel under Shane Says. Obviously, Mannequin Chill, which is part of the Dynasty Trades in 5 YouTube channel. And then I think that's it. Just those 3 places, which are really just 2 places. Yeah, which is kind of just like one, really.
Just Ed Shane. Ed Shane is the worst. Just go there. It's the easiest spot to find him. Chris, tell the good people where they can find you and what you got going on.
Yeah, you can find me every Monday night right here with my guy Gator J on Club Fantasy, Club FFL, on Mocking with the Stars, 10 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays with Fourth and Frames with my guys Rhett and Drew at 9 p.m. And then as we start rolling into the college fantasy season, the 1 Foot Down show on Fantasy and Frames every Monday, where we cover everything college fantasy.
Buddy, we got to get that 3-year-old, man. Listen, Monday nights, baby. You cannot be messing up. You got your show for the college is on Monday nights at 9:00 too. So, man, oh man, oh man. All right, we're gonna get the hell out of here, making way for y'all to be able to get some rest. Let Shane get some beddy time. Go read a book, whatever he's gonna do to fall asleep. Now he's an hour after. Maybe he might get a little bit less into the book, or maybe he won't make a playlist tonight. I don't know, Shane. We'll see what you got going on next week. Shane, we appreciate you joining us tonight. We are out of here.